Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm excited to show you 3 looks with my Beauty Bay Pastels palette and some Duochrome highlights that I own in my collection. In my 5 spring palettes video, someone asked for a look with these, so I figured I would compile 3 looks to be exact and put them in a little video for you. I am well aware that spring feels like it's almost over, at least here where I'm at. It's like getting so hot outside. Of course, it's the desert, so what do I expect? But it's still spring technically. I wish I would have been able to get this video up sooner, but that's okay. Better late than never. So why don't we go ahead and jump into my first eye look. Now, my first eye look, I wanted to push myself, I'm going to start with the one that's my least favorite. I wanted to push myself to use my least favorite slash not really, I mean, I like the color objectively, but I just don't feel like I look good in these kind of colors. And I'm talking about this blue here. So I was thinking to myself, what do I want to pair this with in this palette, because I don't want to just do a straight blue eyeshadow look, and I didn't want to do orange. That felt like too Auburn football to me. So I thought maybe if I pair it with my favorite color in this palette, which is this green here, that I can make it work. Now in the photos, which I have to apologize in advance that my photos are absolute trash. I'm typically taking them in a dark room because my baby is like somewhere in a different room or asleep or something, and I'm trying to just snap a quick photo so they're not, plus I'm just horrible at documenting face or my eyeshadow looks. But anyways, enough droning on about that. I thought maybe if I paired my favorite color, which is this green, with this blue, I could make it work. And I do think that if I had enough time that day to throw on some fake lashes, I might have personally liked the look a little bit better, but I feel questionable about it at this point. So what I ended up doing was putting this green mostly on like the majority of my lid, and then I put in the inner corner, I put this blue, and I thought of it as kind of like a pop of blue towards the inner corner. And then I think I got a little too spunky. I'm not quite sure how I felt about it. I ran a little bit of the blue underneath the outer corner of my lash line and kind of flicked it up in the outer corner, so it almost ended up, they're very similar, obviously in tone because they're both pastels. It almost looked a little bit too much like a halo eye in my opinion that day. I didn't quite want it. I kind of wish I wouldn't have put the blue underneath the bottom part of my lash line, but I do think they looked decent together. Now what I did as the Duochrome highlight portion of this, I actually used my Aurora Glow Kit because it's got this nice bright blue duochrome there, and I ended up layering that over the pastel blue shade, and then I also wore it on my face. That's one of my favorite things that I can do with duochrome highlights when I use them on my eyes, is that they tie into the rest of my makeup look. I can put them on my cheeks as highlighters, which is their intended purpose. So yeah, the first one is not my favorite, but I did it. I managed to create a look with that blue. And so the next 2 I feel much better about. Let's go ahead into look 2. All right, look 2 is one that I actually quite like. I don't feel like the photo of it looks as good as it looked in person. In fact, I got compliments on that eyeshadow look that day. And so I used these 2 shades here, this kind of like minty bluish green. It's really more green in person, but on the camera right now I can see it looks a lot more blue. And then this one here is kind of like a warm tone pink, where this is more of a cool tone pink. And I decided to layer both of these into a look. So what I ended up doing was taking this pink shade and I put it on the outer portion of my lid, and then on the inner portion of my lid I put that like pastel or minty green. And I almost I think it would have looked probably even better if I switched the 2, like if I put the green on the outer portion, because it's such a vibrant green and the pink's so light. I think it maybe would have looked, I mean, I really enjoyed the look, but I think it would have looked slightly even better. And then I kind of blended them in a little bit on the, they blended into each other really nicely. I didn't have any problems with that. And then on the center of my lid, I ended up going with the shade Magic here because it has a little bit of a green kind of reflect to it, but it also has a good bit of pink in it. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. And I just kind of pressed that into the center of my eyeshadow look, and I really enjoyed the look that day. So that was probably, I don't know which one I prefer, that one or the one I'm wearing today. So why don't we go ahead and talk about the one I'm wearing today. So for today's look, I ended up using purples, obviously, which I'll go ahead and link my video last year. I made a spring makeup series kind of playlist, and I have a pastel video where I do at least 2 looks from this palette in that video, and I'll link that video. But last year, I enjoyed this purple shade so much. I enjoyed putting it all over my lid, just like putting a big black wing and just smoked out purple look. It was one of my favorite like spring looks I wore all year last year. So I knew I wanted to do another look with this, but I wanted to try a halo kind of eye, and I thought that this is such a beautiful kind of cool toned pastel shade that I decided to try to use this like pink here. It's also more on the cool tone side compared to this guy. So what I did is kind of created like a halo eye, and then I took a little bit of a white concealer and kind of cut my like lid space out a little bit better, and then I tapped this guy over that, and then I took my Duochrome highlight here. Sorry if you can hear the road noise, by the way, we have a couple of our windows cracked today. But then I took this shade down here called Ethereal. It's got a little bit of a purple pink shift, and I tapped it over the pink. I almost wish that I had gone in with this guy Unicorn instead. It's a little bit more pink, true pink rather than purple, but I thought this turned out really beautiful. Like that's the shade I kind of wish I would have went with, and that's the one that I did go. It's almost got like, at least in this lighting, it looks a little bit more peachy purple than it does pinky purple, which I thought it did. I think that's the only thing that's tricky about this particular highlight palette, is that I can look at a shade in here and I can like kind of see like, oh, that one looks pink, and then when you go to use it, it's like it looks slightly different on your eyes or your face. But I really enjoy how this look turned out. I think that the cool tones in this palette, which really there's only those two there, I think they're so beautiful, and the blue, I guess, they're so beautiful together, and I really enjoy this look. But yeah, that's it today for my 3 spring looks. Make sure you say hello in the comments if you've created any spring looks with some duochrome highlights like I mentioned in that spring video. Please let me know where to go find you to see them. If you're on Instagram or something like that, I love to kind of be able to see the looks. I love seeing makeup looks people create. But yeah, make sure you say hello, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.